Thank you very much. So happy to have you, all of you, today, and especially this is the last session, but I think that I need to wake you up a little bit. Huh? It's a session about cities, and we are more or less all living in cities. And we know that when we are speaking about technology, revolution, etc., it will occur mainly in the cities. And we have this new concept nowadays that is, I don't know, is it marketing or is it real, but these smart cities. And we would like to have smart and sustainable and living cities where we can exist, when we can live, when we can work, when we can have our life built there. So I'm not expected, I was not expected to be the moderator, but this is okay, last minute moderator. And I have a challenge because last night when I arrived in Dubai, I have lost my computer. My computer, I have forgot it in the plane. And I attended one conference one time, and one guy from the neuroscience said that now we are trusting the technology in a way that this is, and the technology devices becoming an extension of our brain. So I have part of my brain in a plane. So I'm trying to do this moderation with just a part of the brain. I hope the good part of the brain. Otherwise. So really happy to have you, and to so we have a really very good panel for this last session, starting with my friend Fatah Bel'eid, who will present an introductory speech for 15 minutes. And then we have three panelists. Unfortunately, Dr. Jihad has not get his visa, was not able to be with us, but Jihad is with us online and can attend. And of course, I have my friend Nani just next to me, and my friend, also my other friend, just Arman, just next to me. So I'm not able to, sorry for that, because part of the brain is not here, so I cannot make not the introduction, but the biography. And since we are running out of time, I would like that the speakers present themselves very briefly. It's better that they present themselves than someone else presenting you and with an extensive presentation. So I propose to give the floor immediately to Fatah Bel'eid. Fatah is working right now in CAPSAC in matter of sustainable cities. And Fatah has published a very, very interesting and bestseller, let me say now, book about smart cities. And we would like that he tell us about 15 minutes, what is this concept of smart cities in the GCC, the reality of the implementation of the smart cities, the challenges and the opportunities. So Fatah, the floor is yours, and please present yourself more than I have presented.
Assalamu alaikum. Good morning, everyone. Do you hear me, Adel?
Yeah, very well.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So thank you very much for the kind invitation. I'm sorry for not being able to join you in person. So my name is Fatah Bel'eid. I am a principal fellow at CAPSAC in Riyadh. We're an independent think tank working on many issues related to energy transition and climate and sustainability. So I'm under climate and sustainability program. And I do many work on, mitigation solutions like energy efficiency, mainly in building, and I'm trying to shift the focus to cities. So definitely before delving into the book, I will say some elements about what we mean with smart cities and what's the challenges. I will try to be brief because of the timing. So as I mentioned, the world urbanization and the population is growing too fast. From 1980, we moved from 40% of people living in city to almost 70%, and this represents 7 billion. And everything is happening in city, as Adel mentioned. We live in cities, we work in cities, and energy is fueling all the aspects in the cities. And according to some numbers, 3-4 billion people will reside in countries with catastrophic and ecological threats by 2050. So this rapid urbanization, by the way, in the GCC, the urbanization rate is more than 90%. So this comes with many challenges: environmental degradation, increasing of waste, pollution, rising temperature, rising energy and food security, energy poverty. 2.4 billion people still lack access to clean cooking solutions. So it's identified that smart city can help in addressing some of these challenges. So by using complex network of sensors, devices, softwares, artificial intelligence, machine learning things, smart cities may help enhancing the efficiency and the operation of cities, from increasing the cleanness of the city, enhancing security, reducing energy consumption, and so forth. So the fusion of this physical and digital infrastructure allow a faster and smarter decision-making process as well. So smart cities went from different stages, from technical-centric approaches to more people-centric. So it is defined, and that's the most successful smart city initiative are the people-centric one. Before delving into deep on the book and what I try to do, I want to say what's the research landscape on smart cities, and as it's a nascent field of topics. So what we have done, we scanned the most the published papers in the last 3 decades on smart city topics, and we used some machine learning techniques and to see the prevalence of this topic and what's the key focus on this field, and to be able also to identify the gaps in terms of research and smart cities. So the figure on my left hand illustrates the dynamic landscape of research in the field of smart cities. So you have the horizontal axis, we saw the density or the development degree of related topics, and the vertical axis show the relevance and the importance of this topic. So there is 4 main basic themes. So the basic theme is the smart city, IoT devices, and machine learning to enhance the operation of the cities. And this actually driven, or the motor themes is deep learning and artificial intelligence, while the system prediction and internet is a declining theme. And there is some niches, as you see in the upper left quadrant, like smart building, industry 4.0 as a niche theme, and also with federated learning and ethics as an important theme as well. If we zoom into this research landscape, we see that smart energy cities is also an emerging concept. What it means is that smart or reducing energy in cities is really important, as energy is fueling all of the aspects in cities. But if we look at this prevalence on the topics on the research landscape and try to look at the dynamics between low income and high income countries, we can see that high income countries focus more on the optimizing and the using advanced simulation aspect to increase efficiency, operation of the cities, while in the low or developing countries, we we focus more on the integration, the application of the smart cities, devices, and so forth. This indicating that we're still working on building the infrastructure for smart cities. So this has been said. Our book actually tried to contribute to this discussion, to this hot debate about the smart cities challenges and opportunities. So the book published a couple months ago with Springer, and the main objective is to collect and to look at the most relevant policy and application papers to answer many questions related to smart cities initiative design, the uptake and the implementation of smart city project, and also how a smart city and the design of built environment help in achieving sustainability goals. So many questions related to what are the best practices worldwide and the region as well, what's the role of smart city in shaping the sustainability goals, and what are the current government policy for smart cities and how effective are these policies, and also what's the value of smart city projects. So as I mentioned, the book is multidisciplinary aspect, looking at the life cycle of smart city from different perspectives, starting from the concept, the evolution of smart city concept, to the benefits and the value of smart cities, zooming into the city systems like mobility, water, energy, and so forth, and also to an important theme, which is the behavioral aspect. As you know, it's really difficult to solve all the problems just with the technologies, the way we use the technologies, and the uptake of these technologies is very important in making these technologies most effective. So we have many contributors from different disciplines, from different perspectives: economics, urban planner, environmentalists. Is more than 30 contributors worldwide from different countries, from the region. I also have many case studies from the emerging economies, from North Africa, Middle East, and Europe as well. I want to just dig deep in one of the chapters that I see it's important in this book, which is the behavioral intervention and the behavioral aspect of this discussion. So chapter 6 look at the behavioral intervention and the role of smart energy city concept in reducing energy consumption in cities, and how important is this behavioral intervention. So the smart energy cities concept is looking at how we leverage technologies to enhance energy efficiency, and behavioral intervention focus more on encouraging users to reduce their energy use. So we took an example of field experiment we conducted in city of Monaco for 6 months, looking at the boost and goal settings impact in reducing energy consumption. So we find like behavioral intervention are very effective in reducing energy consumption. It ranges from 15 to 25%. However, we find that modest goal with informative boost, like encouragement, providing information about how to reduce international energy consumption, are more effective than strong goals. And we find also a discrepancy between the effect between different households. So the conclusion here is that behavioral economics complementing technological intervention would be very, very helpful in achieving sustainability goals, and achieving sustainability with just technological centric approaches would be very, very difficult. And also combining realistic goals will be very effective rather than putting the bar too high for consumers, which may discourage a lot of people in taking or for having sustainable intervention of sustainable consumption behavior. So the book, I will not say too much about this book, is available freely You can download it. You can just scan the code. It provides a lot of insight regarding this technological advancement in smart city, the innovative approach, and many methodological approach actually to enhance the operation and efficiency of the cities, and also some exemplar case studies worldwide, and also the role of policy in enabling smart cities project development, and also many tools for researchers interested in this topic. Moving forward, actually, we are finalizing another book on climate resiliency, focusing mainly in the GCC. The book actually focuses on three main themes. The first topic, or the first part of the book, look at the framing of what we mean with the resiliency, starting from smart energy cities to the concept of resilient cities, and also the discussion, the global discussion around cities decarbonization and enhancement of its resiliency. And the second part, look at the city system, starting from the energy, from the to the water, food nexus, how to build resilient transport infrastructure, and also the social aspect of this of the cities. And the last part, look at the methods of building resiliency, starting from system level thinking to an integrated systematic approach, and also the architecture, the technology, and the and also how we can incorporate science to help shaping the policy making process. Moving forward as well, I want to mention an important report. We are working together within many GCC institutions, looking at how we can decarbonize the building and the built environment in the GCC. We're aiming to finalize it by the end of this month, to launch it during COP. And the objective of this work is to connect, try to put some science into this field and identify global and regional opportunities to enhance efficiency and decarbonize the built environment in GCC. And so this report is divided into 5 main parts, starting from global, looking at the global opportunities, the value of efficiency, the barriers, and the solutions to overcome these barriers. And the second part, look at the status of energy efficiency and the different initiatives, the best practices, and also the gaps in terms of efficiency implementations, the energy efficiency paradox in the region. Another part is looking at the research focus in terms of efficiency and decarbonizing the built environment in the region. And the last part, look automatically to the recommendation and come up with the strategy with an implementation framework to reach carbon neutral cities in the GCC. So stay tuned about this report. We'll be happy to share some insight after the launch of this report by mid-November, inshallah. So just to sum up, as I mentioned, smart city is a nascent concept. There is, theoretically speaking, it's a very nice concept because as it helps to enhance efficiency, enhance rationalize resource management, to improve services in the city, enhance security, and also achieve sustainability goals. But there is many difficulties and many barriers that we need to tackle before to have like a successful smart cities initiative. One of the barriers is the high implementation costs, mainly in the developing countries. Also, loan implementation framework, and also there is here we heard about a lot about equity, justice, and everything, and also some privacy concern. Dr. Adel mentioned that he lost half of his brain. So this technological dependency and how resilient this technological infrastructure, and also data security risk. So we need to take a step back and to come up with comprehensive solutions to make cities more sustainable, starting from the needs and mapping the needs of the population, taking the context as well. One fits all solution doesn't work. We need the contextual approaches. We need also data collection to improve, learn about the context to come up with appropriate solutions. So we need the integration, look at the integration of the system, how sustainable are this system. We need also to start with small, maybe scale project before the upscale of this project. So there is many issues out there. I think Eisenhower who mentioned that anytime we have a complex project, we need to make it simple and take a step back. Not just technology, but behavioral challenge. There is also the financing issues, the business models, the sustainability of these technologies, and the resiliency and so forth. So I will pause here. I'm happy to answer any of your questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Fatah, for this presentation. You have presented already 3 books, not one, and you are really, this is a very good field for us in order to investigate how cities are becoming more and more sustainable and resilient, thanks to the technology, but also behavioral change. Without, we will take all the question at the end, Fatah, if you don't mind. And I'm going just to pose a question starting with Boumediene here. If we deep dive on what Fatah was speaking and seeing what is happening in the GCC, can you provide some example how this concept is really implemented, and what are the examples around you that you are seeing really the smartness? What is the smartness of the cities in GCC, and how you can really
right. To me, I think smart cities are here to stay, right? And you can see it in every major city within the GCC. I mean, you've got a lot of people living in Lusail city in Qatar. You've got Masdar city here. You've got Dubai. You've got the economic, or King Abdullah economic city. All of those cities are here to stay, and they are here with the major mandate. That they are here changing aspects of our lives. So there are 3 major areas, I would say, that we see that impact prominent. One of which is better living, improved quality of life. And really, we've got happier people living in these cities, whether we know it or not. It's just a matter of fact. Also, we've got happier businesses. People are doing businesses really, really greatly. I mean, I just give you an example with Lusail city. It used to cost us a lot of money to open or start up businesses. In Lusail now, you can get a fully fledged office for less than 2,000 Qatari riyals for a month. And this is an amazing thing. You've got your meeting room. You've got if you're in the media, if you're in the digital business, so happier businesses, happier startups. And finally, and I think most importantly, is disaster management. I'm going to take the optimism out of AI rather than the pessimism we heard earlier from Professor Wim. And here, disaster management. Most of us don't remember FIFA 2022 World Cup, but in Lusail, it was a big, smart, because of the smartness of the city, we've got crowd, management. And this is, we forget about these things, but, it comes from command and control, up to, preventing some of the disasters to happen. So there are so many aspects that the digitization has enabled within smartness, and we will be gone, but smart cities will be here.
Thank you very much, Boumediene, for this. you let me pose another question for you is about are you seeing that it's also transforming the way of making transport and are you really seeing that in the management of the city there is something changing with this technology and this technology can have a real power in the future in order to manage the cities as an entity.
Of course, I mean, the management of these cities have a few layers, one of which is the data layer, where, you know, you've got, you know, all these sensors sending you major amounts of data. From that data, you can do crowd management, you can do, you know, heating, you know, whatever, you know, and that's where the efficiencies come from. But you've got also the other layer, which is most likely to be around the management of those cities. I mean, you look at any major city, it has an app. You can park, you can know where the traffic is, you can do everything with your application. So digital governance is especially important when it comes to this. You know, Lusail City, Mazda, name it, they all have apps. And it does help the management of the city from the perspective of, you know, policymaker, you know, governors, but also from a day-to-day, you know, use of the city.
Thank you, Boumediene. So I'm going to Arman, just right to me. Two aspects, Arman. First, I think that the book and the chapter that Fath, you have co-authored this chapter. It's not only about technology, it's a technology for behavioral change. So, and we know that one of the most important implication of the use of AI, all of this technology, is to stimulate the desired change. Desired change may be for more sustainability, but we can be also needed for other purposes. So can you tell us more about this behavioral change and how it fits with the technology?
Sure. First of all, thank you to ERF for the invitation and to the Mohammed bin Rashid School of Governance. You asked us to introduce ourselves briefly. I'm Arman Eshraghi, Professor of Finance Investment at Cardiff University and Director of Cardiff FinTech Research Group. Also recently I was in the UAE for a few months as visiting professor at American University of Sharjah. In response to your question, so the piece Fatah and I wrote together looks at behavioral interventions in order to encourage energy reduction. Because again, as Fatah said, technological solutions are not enough. If you want to instigate behavior change, obviously you need to use behavioral science. And there's plenty of research in behavioral economics, behavioral finance, which underlies how people can be, well, for example, nudged towards desirable outcomes. This obviously comes on the back of Richard Taylor's work in terms of choice architecture with Cass Sunstein, and plenty of research that followed this area. So behavioral interventions are extremely effective. One critique is that they could be short-term and transient. So nudging could create short-term positive impact, but they may not be very sustainable. And currently the state of the research is to think how you can create behavioral interventions which are more long-term. Related to this, of course, with smart cities and with all Industry 4 technologies, you want to create platforms which will continue to pay dividends for generations to come. And so the intergenerational benefits of these technologies are extremely important. And ideally, the public sector needs to invest in technologies which create those long-term intergenerational benefits. Just to give you one example from Cardiff, Wales, which is where I live. Um, we have within Welsh government, which is part of the UK government, a devolved section of the UK government. We have a so-called Future Generations Commissioner, and every piece of public policy which is legislated has to articulate what the impact of that policy is for future generations. And it has to be quite specific. So for this generation, for next generation, for 3 generations down the line. And I think this is very important also from a financial perspective, because when the public sector, for example, or the private sector is thinking about valuing projects and thinking about the correct discount rate to use when it comes to deciding whether to invest in a green infrastructure, in a smart grid, in a smart waste reduction system, then if there are intergenerational benefits, that discount rate would be lower. So currently, in most of UK and Europe, the discount rate, the so-called social discount rate, which is used to value public infrastructure projects of this nature, tends to be between 3% to 7%, depending on whether it's going to be a long-term social good type project. And so for projects which have intergenerational benefits, which I believe perhaps Fatah and Boumediene and yourself agree with me, that smart city type projects tend to be of that nature, then probably the government could afford to bring down the hurdle rate to something around 3%. I'm keen to know what kind of discount rate is used in the GCC to value and decide on these projects.
Thank you very much, Armen. Let me just pose another small question, since you are coming from the finance. We are seeing that the cities are transforming, and using this technology can also offer potentialities for the cities in order to generate new revenue. New business model can be built, because really this technology can allow new business model. It's not only about providing service, public service. We know that most of the European country, other country in the world have problem of debt, so they need to generate revenue. So have you some experience or things to share about your thought about these e-services and the way that we can put a right business model?
Absolutely. So when it comes to the question of funding, there are a number of models that are used across the world. Obviously, public funding by the government is one, and we see a lot of that in GCC. But there's also public-private partnership, or PPPs, which used to be quite popular in the UK after the Labour government, but then they sort of got into some troubled waters. And then there's private investments, local, domestic private investments, and then, of course, FDI. But when it comes to smart cities and these kinds of sustainable projects, there are debt instruments that could be issued, such as smart city bonds or green city bonds, which are another form of funding these projects. So there's plenty of ways to do so. And my sense is that in the GCC, because of the abundance of public money, probably other avenues are not explored to the same extent, and there could be more room for growth when it comes to, for example, venture capitals coming to exist or coexist together with public money, and then going back to your question, when it comes to revenues, then there are plenty of revenue sharing models that could be envisioned. But I would like to also, if you allow me, just take 2 minutes to make an observation on the issue of technology itself, perhaps related to the previous speaker, Professor Wim. So part of the research I do looks at hype in technologies. And the word hype was not used today anywhere. We are dealing with a lot of hype. Especially right now, it's AI. You see the word AI everywhere. There are many, many legitimate use cases, for sure, but there's also a lot of mis-selling of the word AI. And I was visiting GTEx yesterday, and there's almost every IT company uses the word AI, but actually when you ask them, what is your AI engine, what is your AI core model, none of them can answer. And so we have done some research which looks at not just AI, but all overhyped technologies using the Gartner hype cycle. And we have shown that many companies put these hyped buzzwords in their marketing literature, in their disclosures, accounting disclosures, in their 10K, 8K, etc. in the US, in order to create short-term returns. And if I was the government, if I was the financial watchdog, I would be very careful not to throw public money on after mis-sold, hyped technologies. So lots of legitimate use cases, but we just have to be careful not to follow the hype. And unfortunately, right now with AI, there's a lot of that happening. So there needs to be a checklist. I think any new startup, you just have to have a checklist before investing or even using it as a supplier, because unfortunately, there's a lot of AI washing happening.
Thank you very much, Armen, for your thoughts. Now I am going back, and sorry, Dr. Jihad, to get you the last speaker, but since we had the two speakers online, that's why I have tried to change a little bit. Dr. Jihad from the Arab Urban Development Institute, you are working nowadays on a kind of survey and study about the use of these technologies among municipalities and Arab cities. Can you tell us about the preliminary findings of your study and what is happening really on the ground? Are we really using this in our management system and at the municipal level or not? And thank you, and sorry to be the last one.
Thank you, Dr. Adel. And I'll start by thanking the Economic Research Forum for their invitation to this excellent roundtable. There's quite a very interesting insights that we've heard today, covering a lot of different issues, and especially regarding to our object of interest here, which is smart cities and digital transition on all these aspects. I have a small presentation that I could have shared, but maybe to gain time, maybe I will go directly into summarizing the main aspects of this study and our interest in it. In fact, as Arab Urban Development Institute, we are a regional organization, a think tank that works with 650 cities from around the Arab region. We work with their municipalities. The word municipality should be understood as the authority in charge of the city. So it depends in different contexts. You have different levels. Sometimes it would be what we call in Arab Saudi Arabia, for example, the Amana. In other area, it would be in Egypt, the Muhafaza. So we work with these organizations and these public entities that govern cities. And we were interested with how these organizations, these institutions approach the idea of digital transition and how they approach the idea of smart cities. We came to this because in a study we have done last year, we from 90 different municipalities trying to understand their priorities and their interests. Digital transition was among the 3 highest rated issues that they wanted to focus on, and that they wanted insight on, and they wanted more research and a better understanding about what it is and how to approach it. So this research that Audi is developing, and it's developing, in fact, with the team of Dr. Adel Ben Youssef here. So it is a joint project. Tries to understand, on one hand, how municipalities are approaching the idea of digital transition and how digital transition is transforming municipalities. So it's in the two senses. On one hand, we have an understanding and framework of different levels of how municipalities are using digital tools, which could be basically the use of digital tools for their internal systems, or it could be for providing services, for participation and public engagement, or for more, let's say, systematic and integrated approach of management using big data, using a lot of IoT or smart grids or whatever information, and having a more strategic perceptions of things. So we tried to confront this kind of categorization of different levels of smart city or smart municipalities with basically institutional analysis, which we usually do in Audi, and that where we focus on municipalities' core aspects, like, for example, aspects of strategy and leadership in municipalities, organization structure, financial resources, funding, financial human resources, and modes of collaboration. And we try, based on this, to understand how, on one hand, as I was saying, this use of technologies is affecting the practices of municipalities, institutional practices of municipalities, and the reverse. And so, going back on the key findings in our study, we had a lot of hypotheses and general assumptions when we came to address the issue, because there's a lot of material there that one can start with. And also, since we're working at the level of the Arab states and Arab cities, we are working into a situation of large diversity. Because talking about a large city like Riyadh, or talking about a smaller city in Lebanon now, or in Morocco, it's quite a different context. There's different resources, there's different let's say, levels of decentralization and capacity of making decision at the local level. There's also issues of political stability within one situation, and all this. And also, it's very important, let's say, the practice of use of digital tools within the population and within public administration at large before going at the level of the city. So I'll try to go briefly on several aspects of these key findings. One interesting aspect is at the level of strategy and leadership. We can, if you look at the situation in Arab cities, we see that there's increasingly what we can call digital transition strategies within a lot of municipalities. However, when we look much closer, what is meant by strategy or digital transition strategies varies a lot between cities. So in some cases, it could be a document clarifying true strategies for a certain period of years with a series of interventions and projects, etc. In other cases, it could be just a kind of plan of what we will be investing on, what each department will be doing independently. So the cohesion of the idea of digital transition, the focus of it varies widely between different cities and different contexts. But one thing is sure, we're having a digital transition is becoming something that municipalities are interested in and are interested in developing and strategizing and approaching in a more, let's say, comprehensive way. Another thing is when we have national strategies, this directly impacts what we have at the local level in terms of municipal strategies, because in a lot of countries, the focus of how digital transition is understood at the national level, what key issues it focuses on, reflects itself directly on these municipalities, because these municipalities need the support of national level, at the level of expertise, at the level of funding, in a lot of cases. Another important factor, if we go into organizational structures and how the relation between digital transition and organizational structure, what would one assumption that we had initially, that and we'll find a lot of literature, is digital transition usually requires changes in the structures of the organization to help it to be able to deal with the complexity of digital transition within different departments within a certain municipality. And what we found in the Arab cities, we found a lot of different situations where in most cases, it's usually the IT department within the municipality that's taking a wider role, sometimes a strategic role, going beyond the technical and to the strategic level. In other cases, it will be at the level of, let's say, the office of the mayor or some kind of deputy mayor who's leading on the question of digital transition within municipalities. But overall, we don't see a change in the hierarchy. We don't see a change in the organization. What we can see that in situations where the team in charge of digital transition is empowered, in the sense it has direct contact with the leadership in the municipality, we find that digital transition is put on the agenda and it's pushed, and a lot of applications are going further. In terms of the reverse relation, in the sense that digital transition is bringing also a lot of better coordination between, or at least this is what was shared with us, because our research is based on interviews with experts and municipalities. We had interviews with 26 experts and with 16 municipalities from around the Arab region. And what was shared with us is, in most cases, the digital transition application bring more shared information, and it helps better coordinate between different, let's say, administration within the municipality. I can go on also to talk a little bit about in a lot of countries outside the GCC, the important role that international organizations play in pushing digital transition, in the sense that they have a role in capacity development, they have a role in funding. However, this also raises a lot of issues and questions, because funding usually is more in terms of capex and not opex. It means that these kind of projects come on a limited time and with a limited budget, and the operation later on is not integrated within the mode of funding of these projects, in the case of large international organization funding projects. And also, in many cases, these international organizations would come with their conditions in terms of kind of systems to use, and sometimes in terms of providers, which creates also issues of technical dependency on the long term for the municipality, and it comes also with higher costs, long-term costs on the municipality. So I will stop here. There are a lot of issues. It's an ongoing research, and we'll hope to have more information in the upcoming months, and having the report before the end of the year. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Jihad, for the presentation for this work and associated to this work. And I would like just to share with the present some just one interview, and the content with the interview with the responsible of Holy Mecca about the digitalization. And when you see what is happening now to Mecca, it's mostly you need to understand the technology. Crowd management, the system in Mecca can be sold worldwide, because it's really exceptional to can manage 2 million of pilgrims. they come there during the Hajj. And all this is managed with the drones now. Drones, AI, and system in order to manage all these. And more importantly is the shift in the skills, because the responsible of Mecca now, he needs to be skilled in technology, and this is what they call it. That's mean that now, and this shift in Saudi Arabia, we will speak about this tomorrow, but I'm just preparing the field for tomorrow. When you see what is the skills of the main skills of the Ministry of Health in Saudi Arabia, he's coming from digital technologies now. That's mean that E is becoming the most important thing. And in so many now new ministry where the E is coming, the skills are coming from the field of the engineering and from the software, because it's becoming key for these ministries. And for the municipalities now, we need strong people and strong skills in order to manage all this technology within them. And I think that this study will bring a lot of very useful insight for us for the future. Let we have just small interaction. I can take just for 5 minutes some question for our smart city panel. So I need Dr. Ibrahim, 1, 2, the third one, late.
This may not apply to the GCC cities, but in general, there is this issue of the role of cities in transforming agriculture, because there is this concept of making agriculture look like industry, and the history of the role of the city of Chicago, for example, in revolution is, kind of revolutionizing agriculture in the Midwest. Because you have the commodity exchange, and you have the forward linking from agriculture to industry, but also backward linkage in terms of the benefit of agriculture from the services and technology and the finance and so on. So just I want to ask if you have some ideas here to share with us in terms of this region, the broader region, the Middle East and North Africa.
To say a few words, Dr. Ibrahim, the concept of Industry 4.0 is, and tomorrow I hope that Raymond can talk more about this. If it become more sustainable, the industry, and cleaner, we can bring it to the city. And also for the agriculture, if you master the technology, we can bring it in the city. So that's mean that really the impact on the city, and we are seeing this in France. That's mean that they say reindustrialization in France, but reindustrialization in the core of the cities, not at the periphery. And this is something new.
Thank you. It was really exciting to hear about the new developments in smart cities, and I'm a complete novice in this. But I'm trying to make the connection to our first session where we talked about AI, where we talked about AI making decisions for us, AI sometimes hallucinating. And so it seems like many of the smart city projects are in a very advanced stage of implementation. So I'm curious, for example, in the Mecca project or in some other projects, what are the safeguards that are taken to prevent issues from hallucination? Because I would imagine an issue of, a couple of drones deciding, okay, there's a problem there when there is none, that those things can generate the, challenges very quickly.
Hello. Hi, Dr. Jihad. Hi, everyone. Smart cities have been going on since 2015, but we now have also an ISO, right? ISO 33,000 on smart sustainable cities indicator. So my question is, and it's really very important, is that in the Arab world we have lack of data, and for us to link finance, behavioral economics, and everything, we need impact management, a good impact management framework. So my question is how we can use smart cities as a tool to really embed impact management decision-making process. Because it's not about doing the smart city as much as using smart city as a tool for us to really have evidence-based approach to transform our cities. And my question also to Dr. Jihad is how also you think that these municipalities have used smart cities as a change management tool, not also as an IT tool. Thank you.
Thank you for your question.
Thank you. My name is Isa Abdul Jalil. As economists, you always talk about the optimal level of things. And here you are talking about AI, everyone is coming from the AI side to the city. And we talk also about the diminishing marginal productivity of production inputs. So is there any optimal level of the use of AI that is very cost effective, that is optimal for the economy, for the environment?
Thank you very much. Raymond, the Kusiri.
As I worked in building automation, I have a question. Are the smart cities killed by stupid buildings? I give an example, worst case scenario, we're sitting in a room and I'm freezing like hell and the light is on. In 1994, we discussed in building automation, what is the intelligence? Is it blinds down, light on, less cooling energy? Or is it blinds up, more cooling energy, lights off? Until today, it is not realized after 30 years. And I give you two more examples because I just looked, because for me is new smart cities. So I said, what is the KPI of smart cities? I asked Gemini. And I asked myself, normally it's kilowatt per square meter and it's water reuse per square meter. I give an example, Singapore, there is no rainwater used, for toilet flushing. And the biggest scarcity and shortage is in sweet water supply in Singapore. The same, we have a very painful experience. Banks do not finance in Germany anymore buildings with a higher kilowatt than age. Buildings in Germany have an energy passport. So are these KPIs established or are they too general at the moment for smart buildings?
Thank you very much. The last one, it's my session, so it's my 3 we can extend to 7. Okay.
Thank you. Okay. Quick question. No, my question is about when we talk about smart cities, are there many types of smart cities? For example, one of the definitions that Jihad Belaid mentioned, he said it's a people-eccentric city. Dubai, for example, smart city Dubai wants to be a smart city for happiness, to make people happy, to live in the smart city, in Dubai smart city. Are there a different type of smart cities in China, for example? What is the end goal of smart cities? If there is any type of explanation on that.
First, I would like to have your feedback regarding the cost of living in smart cities because it's linked to high costs. So how people can manage to live in these cities and the erosion maybe of security and the security challenge because everything is controlled and technology surveillance, it's a bit challenging. And are these cities are appealing in terms of cultural activities and so on because we can risk to lose the city life. I mean, the small city life. So, in terms of connection between people, between neighbors, and with cultural activities, what do you think about this? Thank you.
Questions, and I have three only speakers, four speakers. With Fatah can also. Let me start with Fatah. If you want to interact with any of the seven questions.
Thank you very much. I didn't hear all the question, but I want to go back to the interesting question about agriculture and which leads actually to the soil artificialization, maybe, you know, and the conversion of natural land from, you know, for urban and industrial purposes, which often, you know, results in destruction of habitat and ecosystem, leading to loss of, you know, landscape, such as deserts and others. So I think effective planning require, you know, balancing all these needs, and definitely the urbanization has an impact on the ecosystem. So rigorous analysis of public policy, particularly this to, you know, regulating mobility, land use, the control of our artificialization of soil is very, very important. I saw in many countries, for example, in Algeria, we converted many, you know, lands for, you know, for habitat. Now we're pushing for, you know, agriculture in the desert. So balancing, you know, where we're is the best space, you know, to urbanize. It's very critical. Regarding, you know, the definition, is there any model of smart cities? Definitely the concept of smart city, it's to it's for people to make our life easier, to rationalize our resources. But definitely it comes, as I mentioned, by discussion, it comes many challenges, and definitely equity, justice, the affordability is very key. We saw it in many cities when we try, you know, to urbanize. For example, Paris project, you know, when we tried in 2015 to expand Paris city for metropole, we saw like the real estate prices has been doubled in the suburbs. So definitely this is come with affordability issues and a lot of things. But for the moment, as far as I know, there is no good example or best example of smart cities. We're trying to our best actually to improve, but there is still a lot of challenges to overcome, and just in work is in progress. So technology is good, but the way we use the technologies, the implementation of technologies, it comes with many issues. I really like, you know, the example of stupid buildings. Definitely, we cannot make everyone happy. Definitely, you know, the way we live, you know, our approach to the environment is completely different from one person to another. I'm happy with 19 degrees, but some people want more warm and so forth. So I think finding a balance between the technology, the human needs, it's really important. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Fatah. So I give the floor for 3 minutes for Boumediene.
I need only two. Thank you very much. I'm going to start with the typologies. You know, looking at the literature, we don't have different types. We have one size fits all. So there is a conglomerate of some sort that says, okay, here are the smart infrastructure, smart transport, smart city elements. Buy it. Thank you very much. So if that doesn't answer your question, I don't know what. But I think that's what the question was about this. I'm going to take the optimal question. I don't think there is one, to be honest. There isn't an optimal question. I mean, Dr. Ibrahim earlier said about the technology and how it advances, how it changes. And hopefully one day we have an AI that is less energy consuming, but I don't know if that will happen. As we speak, I think with the projections that Professor Wim was saying, I don't think we will have that. So I don't think I answered your question, but I'm all right. One final idea around what if anything goes wrong? Yeah, that's your question, I think. And with high-rise buildings, I mean, we've seen so many things go wrong, right? I mean, let alone the lights on and you know, the temperature. You know, we have seen a lot of things go on, and with smart cities, if it goes wrong, it goes really wrong, right? And I think that's where you're coming from. And to be honest with you, there will be a lot of fatalities. There's a projection, I think. But there is a lot that's happening in the design stage where it is error-free. Yeah. So there is a lot of money pumped into smart cities so that they make it error-free. And you know, we're humans at the end of the day, so errors will happen. I'm done. Thank you very much.
Sure. Just briefly on the issue of how much AI is optimal. There are models in technology studies which look at technology readiness and the dividends to technology adoption. So theoretically, at least, there are some models. Financially, there are very established models which look at the investment case in technologies. Of course, the trouble is many of the benefits of the technology adoption are non-financial. For example, smart traffic management could lead to significant time saved, and then putting a unit dollar amount on the time saved, of course, depends on the value of time per member population, which is a very difficult thing to assess. So it becomes a sort of a noise variable. So, but theoretically, there are models. Again, in my view, we need to bring the hype factor also into those models. A very robust tool that is used in the industry is the Gartner hype cycle, which looks at 5 phases of hype associated with technologies. Now, it's not just AI. AI is, of course, the currency of the month or the year, but a few years ago it was blockchain. It still is to some extent, but it kind of went past its prime. It was 3D printing some years ago. Many years ago, it was just anything that had to do with internet. There's a famous paper in finance which shows that back in the late 1990s, any company which added .com to their names, their valuations, I think, quadrupled. Any company, even a company with no online presence, they just put, I don't know, laflowers.com. And then, so we just have to be careful that there are these kind of overly enthusiastic valuations in the markets. Can I just say something also? Even though you had left your phone somewhere, you did a fantastic job as a moderator. So or laptop. Well done. Well done. Well done. I can only wonder how you would have performed with the laptop.
We'll see. Thank you. So, Dr. Jihad, you have some question and you can answer.
Yeah, thank you. I want to go back to the question of impact and change management tool, the idea of how these kind of digital tools are causing a change in management within municipalities and how we can assess the impact of this change. I want to go first into just to clarify that I come from a background that's not of an economist nor of data scientist. I'm an urban planner with a background in urban governance. So my entry point and my perspective is a bit specific in the sense that I see smart city as a nebulous term. It's a very complex term and it raises a lot of different questions within the area of let's say local public institution. On one hand, this is why I like this kind of segmentation of the idea of smart city between the smart city 1.0, which is basically the inner system of municipalities, to smart city 4.0, which is all these new tools and really the technology coming out into the public space, into the infrastructure and taking form in smart grids, IoT, which raise different questions, a lot of very complex and different questions. And also because the first category, it has been around for a lot of time. This has been around for like at least 25, 30 years with the municipalities integrating digital system and working with them and developing a certain relation and control on them. While the newer ones, which include AI, drones, automated vehicles, IoT, etc., they are really recent one, and they have a lot of complexity, and it's really the question how they would be integrated and how it is integrated is really very, very experimental, I would say, at this stage, internationally and within the Arab region. So what I want to say here is how we try to understand these phenomena and how to try to study them. In my point of view, we're still at the qualitative level. It's really early, at least within when we're studying the institution itself and its impact. It's really early to go quantitative. Also because there's a lot of lack of data at this level, but also because institutional relations are really complex to capture internally. And the question of change management, I think also it's very critical and tricky in the sense that just to give you a case that I've been related to like 20 years ago, when India tried to digitalize the let's say the cadastre and the property. The cadastre in the British tradition has a different interpretation than in the French tradition, for example, in terms of rights, what right you have in a certain land. And in the French tradition, you have a full kind of uniform kind of relation of ownership on the land. So when through the digitalization, what happens basically in India, the digitalization was based more on a sort of French kind of approach, where one owner, one relation to the land, and this created a lot of issues and a lot of problems. This is one simple application, and one can see how much it's critical and how much it's complex. Public institution have been trying to learn how to deal with a lot of how to control the economy, how to control, how to guide development. For the last 300 years, they've been building national institution, national state institution. What's coming really now is when you go to the level of the digitalizing, in fact, you're rebuilding institutions. You're by taking every decision you take, you're making a decision that usually will take a lot of time to deliberate in the normal circumstances. That means take any application. When the application gives you certain choices, basically, it's already predefining a certain relation you have with the state, with the authorities, of what is expected in terms of rights and functionality. And every point in this is quite tricky. Usually, in normal circumstances, every decision has a lot of oversight in traditional institution. Here, it's happening very quickly and in a very critical situation. So I would say there's a lot of experimentation and learning to be made before we have a certain stabilization at this particular level.
Thank you very much, Dr. Jihad. Let me just close this session by answering the 7 questions just by a small joke. You know, my mayor in Nice, I'm living in Nice in France, and the mayor decided to be among the three cities the most ranked in the world for smart cities. So he has really transformed the city, and he tried to do a lot of things. But since he has decided to do this every year, every day, I try to be well dressed, and I am smiling. So for happiness, this is for you. I'm smiling everywhere. You know why I'm smiling? Because they are taking more than 300 photos of me per day. So I'm trying to hallucinate the AI, trying to make the interpretation what is happening with him. So really, we don't know what they are using with this. There is no policeman in there are only drones and camera everywhere. And really, we don't know the question of security. I'm not feeling that I am in a better environment or something like this. What is sure is transport is better. Transport, I have no car since he has decided to do this because he's invested hugely in public transportation and we are using them. We have better parks and for the kids, etc. It's really very nice. He has destroyed most of the city in order to make garden. This is very good, and there is a lot of. So we are seeing some, but the technological part is really scary because we don't know what they are using with this. And even I have one time and asked the university, because in the university we have camera everywhere, but no single correspondence or email saying what they are doing with this camera for us. All this is mandatory in Europe. The RGPD, the General Regulation about the propriety of the data. You need to, if you use, you need to tell the people what you are doing with the data, how you are storing them, and what is the periodicity when you extract this data. Until now, no one is informing us what we are. So really, I think that the story is we are seeing that there is a transformation in some part of the world, but we need also to be empowered to understand this and to make this, we can tell what is the desirable outcome that we would like to have. And this is, we need more participation, participatory kind of democracy. And